we go. Unfreaking believable. Unbelievable. I gotta be honest with you, that game drove me nuts. I cannot believe the Buccaneers lost that game. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Tough one. Man, that was an absolute blazer from Cooch, wasn't it?
What a crazy game. The Bulls are bowl bound for the third season in a row. An incredible performance. But listen, we know the competition. They did what they had to do. No more silver linings. No more moral victories. It was put up or shut up time. And boy, did they rise to the occasion.
The microphone was off for YouTube, and now, because Rolly's here, we are ready to roll. What is going on? We are live. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I'm everywhere. Again, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. We here. You guys heard me the whole time, but we're back here. Again, the freaking audio, sometimes it picks up my cell phone, sometimes it picks up this. I don't know, man. This shit is nuts. This shit's crazy over here. Jason and his audio. Thank you, Marissa. I love you too. And shout out to everybody watching on TikTok, Matt Altman, Pat Russo, John Oliver, the whole crew. I appreciate you guys for tuning in today on the program. Plenty to get into. First, thank you, Honest Hammer. Thank you, EverHealth, our partners here on the program. Everybody, wherever you're listening on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, hit that like button. Kill that like button for me. Every single like, every single chat certainly helps out. And a big thank you to our number one Liverpool fan with the $20 super chat, David Terry. I salute you, my good friend. I appreciate you very, very much, guys. Every little bit counts. Whatever you can do to contribute to the program, that is how we're going to keep this ball rolling. DT, love you, brother. Appreciate you so very much. Questions, comments, concerns, feel free. Put them here on the screen, on the phone, on TikTok, right here on the laptop, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter as well. I want to hear from you. Today on the program, Lightning, little preview of what we could see for the playoffs. That's what we saw last night in Montreal. We'll get into that matchup with Les Habitants in a bit. Also, Rays, Yankees series starts tonight at Tropicana Field, RaysBaseball.com for all your information there. 12:30, Michael Senay joins the show. This kid is 6-0 for the USF Bulls. Freshman right-hander, kid from Orlando. Why did he pick USF? And what has been the key to his success? This guy's very close to the vest. I had to pull some of the answers out of him. I recorded it today earlier so we could get it on the show. But this is a guy that is all business, no messing around. And you can tell why Mitch Hannes loves this dude so freaking much. Later on the program, we'll talk Masters. Can Rory go back-to-back? 1 o'clock, Dominic Casciato, head coach of our Tampa Bay Rowdies. They're 4-0. They're looking to go 5-0. He's the USL Championship Coach of the Month. Dom Casciato joins us at 1 o'clock. UFC card this weekend. I know our guy, Greg DeCruz from Costa Rica, is jacked up for this one. UFC 327. Listen, I always tell you guys the real deal when it comes to these UFC cards. Big names, small names, underrated cards, cards that you shouldn't worry about too much. This is one of those cards that if you watch from the beginning, you are going to know a lot of these names. So it is very exciting. This is one of the ones you want to tune in. The main event for the vacant light heavyweight crown with Prochazka and Ulberg is going to be a firefight. This is going to be a good one. We'll break that down at 1:20, and we'll end the program at 1:30 today with our guy, Tom Jones, formerly of the Tampa Bay Times. He's now at the Pointer Institute. Remember him with the sports page with Rick Stroud, the first show I ever interned on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. It was 95.7 now. But learned a lot from Tom Jones, and we're going to talk about a little bit of everything when it comes to Tampa Bay sports and beyond. I want to get to some of your questions before we talk some Lightning hockey. Jeremy Johnson on TikTok, where have passes been the last 3 games? We lose it as soon as we touch it. Yes. It's like a grenade off the freaking stick sometimes with these damn passes, and it has not been as crisp. I like what I saw down the stretch, but with that being said, not good enough. Not good enough. That is for sure. Shout out to Benny here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You're right, DT. We might be starting the playoffs on the road. Greg DeCruz, you can attend only one of these: final round of the Masters, Game 7 of the Stanley Cup, Game 7 of the World Series, or the Super Bowl. What would you attend? Good question. I mean, I've been to the Super Bowl and I've been to the Stanley Cup, so I'm going to have to go final round of the Masters, especially because of what we saw last year with Rory McDonald. So I'll go final round of the Masters. My cousin was actually there last year, so that's pretty damn cool as well. Victor Boucher, the $5 super chat. Thank you, Victor. I appreciate you so much, buddy. Happy Friday, Jay. Heard rumors that Bain Jr. might fall to the Bucks because his stock is falling. What do you think? I don't think that is true. He's an incredible athlete, and with the premium when it comes to pass rushers, I wouldn't put too much into that. I hope so, but remember, this is the time as we inch closer and closer and closer to the NFL draft. You're going to hear a lot of BS. You're going to hear a lot of smoke screens out there and things that are not true. Here, Tampa Bay Lightning on TikTok. Any word on Victor Hedman? So we broke the news earlier this week. Victor Hedman was at Benchmark International Arena on Saturday. Nobody else was talking about that. We were talking about it right here. We know that Victor Hedman has been dealing with a lot. And unfortunately, as we get closer and closer to the playoffs, if he's not there right now, skating, I highly doubt, unless something drastic happens, that we'll see Victor Hedman suiting up for the Tampa Bay Lightning this year. Whatever it may be. And from what we're hearing, it's not like a physical injury, but it might have something to do with his health. I don't want to speculate that kind of stuff. That's why I said a couple of weeks ago when I spoke about the Victor Hedman situation, okay? When you see the Victor Hedman situation, we got to talk about what we do know. And what we do know is that the guy's been through a lot this year. Multiple injuries, fighting his way back to play in the Stadium Series, fighting his way back to play in the Olympics for Sweden. It's meant so much to him to represent his country. And then he gets hurt before the quarterfinal matchup against Team USA and has to watch the game from the bench. And then he comes back, gets hurt again, and he has to leave the team. He left the team in Vancouver, traveled all the way back home. And he wasn't seen. He wasn't in the group photo. But from what we heard, what I heard from multiple people, he was at Benchmark International Arena on Saturday. He showed up after the game started in the first period and left before the game ended in the third period. We know that his brother's been around Benchmark and the team's still treating him great. I know that Victor Hedman, Steven Stamkos saw him when he was in town. We could just hope that whatever happens to Victor Hedman, physically, mentally, emotionally, that, he gets better. I Shine 813. We need playoff pointer. You got that right, buddy. And Bucks, Rays, Bolts, Knicks. The power play needs to get going. 1 for 27 is unacceptable. I hear you. And again, Tampa Bay Lightning on TikTok. If we don't have him back, I'm seriously concerned for our defense. And I mean a full, healthy Hedman. I feel horrible for him. And shout out my guy, Matt Altman. Another win last night. 11-0 for Matt Altman. You saw the interview that I had with him the other day when somehow, some way, this guy came out and was smoking a double to center field on senior night for Gaither. But Matthew Altman's probably going to be the 813 Preps pitcher of the year if I had my vote. And shout out to Jen Nero in the house as well. Her son's had a hell of a year, Zach Nero, over at Durant, one of the better right-handers in Hillsborough County. But what you saw last night for the Tampa Bay Lightning, if you watch that game, that was as close as you're going to get to a playoff game in the regular season. You could feel the intensity in the building through the television screen. It was incredible. And it was a tight game. Very tight game. And I tell you what, I didn't hate the Lightning's third period, and that's when I really wanted to see what they were all about. Offensively, yes, they got to pick it up, and they're still not 100%. If you missed the discussion with Eric Erlinson the other day, he thinks Brendan Hagel, or excuse me, with Ed Encini yesterday, he thinks Brendan Hagel and John Cooper said as much. They'll try to get him into a game before the postseason. I'm not surprised by that. I think it'll happen. I'm not worried about him. I don't think we'll see Victor Hedman. I think it's going to be a couple rounds before we see Dominic James. I think it'll be a couple rounds before we see Pontus Holmberg. I see Eric Qualls on there. We need Hagel and Dominic James back bad. We need a spark. You're not wrong. You're not wrong at all. But when I look at this team as we get closer, I told you it's about the process and not the results. And some of the processes last night were really good. That's what gives me hope going forward. Now, when you look at how they lost the game last night, they come back, they score the goal with under 2 minutes left. John Cooper pulls the goalie. Darren Radish rips one for goal number 22 on the season. And shout out to my guy, Ashton. Ashton, you better be in school, man. And shout out and happy birthday to your mama, Vermery. She was her birthday yesterday. Show her some love, man. Luis Andujar, my guy. Coach, you ain't never told a lie. You know it, baby. You know it. Love the whole Andujar family, man. Give everybody my love, my friend. The way that they gave up the goal last night was rough. Because when you look at the turnover, it was from a guy that doesn't make many mistakes, and that's J.J. Moser. And let's not forget, J.J. went to the Olympics too. Marissa was asking me last night, like, what's the deal with the Lightning and why are they kind of struggling and scuffling right now? And I think a lot of it has to do, it's been a long year. It's been a long season. When you have John Cooper, when you have, Cirelli and Point, they were getting ready. They did everything they can. That's a lot. And then you had Hagel, you had Gensel, you had Hetty, you had Chernak, you had Holmberg, you had Gergensons, right? You had all of these guys. You had J.J. Moser all go to Milan. Like, it's a lot. And it affects every team differently. And it just seems like the combination of that with how tight the schedule was in the back half of the year, it's affected the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's not an excuse, but it's a reason. If they want to win, they're going to have to dig themselves out of this hole and play their best hockey over the next 2 months. It's not guaranteed, but it's not impossible either. CJ Hall always bringing something smart on the show. 7 for 7 on the PK. I'll take that any day of the week. Positive vibes. You got that right, my friend. You got that right. Everybody hit that like button, whether you're on TikTok, whether you're on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. Hit that like button for me. Send me some gifts if you can on TikTok and any of the super chats you've already seen from Victor and DT on YouTube. I'm with you, CJ. The way that they were able to play defensively, that should make you feel good as a Lightning fan. That should make you feel optimistic about this team going forward because Hagel will be back. And once that top six gets together and gets a groove, I like my chances. What happens with Oliver Bjorkstrand, we'll see. I think Scott Sabrin, he's going to have to play in the lineup, going to be in the lineup against some of these teams. You can tell he's not 100% because he would have been in there last night against the Montreal Canadiens. That game was very chippy. That game was very intense, and it had a playoff feel. And Kucherov had the assist last night. But I just want everybody to be aware of what's going on, of this whole situation. And Tampa Bay Lightning, for some reason, I thought James is out for the season. No, he's not. He's not out for the season, which is good. I've seen him skating around. I actually talked to him last week when he was here at Benchmark International Arena. And Ed Encina, if you missed that chat with him yesterday, he spoke about Dominic James, like still not 100%, but he's getting there. He's getting there, which is a really positive sign because the kid has been fantastic. All right. So what you saw last night when it came to Nikita Kucherov and this team, right? We have to keep in mind, and I want to make sure that I have this stat exactly right before I get it going. Okay, 18, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's right, 15. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I had that right. All right, so there you go. Last night was certainly a foreshadowing of things to come when it comes to the Tampa Bay Lightning and what could be their first round opponents in the Montreal Canadiens. The physicality, the chippiness, the speed that team has, and also the energy that the Bell Center had. This is the best team they've had in a while. And I know they went to the Stanley Cup final against the Tampa Bay Lightning years ago, but it was just kind of a little bit of a wonky season, and they were backstopped by Carey Price. But I think you could argue that this Montreal team is better than that one. And a message for Nikita Kucherov. If you have seen how Montreal has defended you and how some of these other teams have defended you the last couple of days, this is how it's going to be next weekend when the playoffs start. And let's not forget, Nikita Kucherov has not scored a playoff goal in 15 games. 15 games. Nikita Kucherov has not scored a goal in the playoffs. I'm not telling this guy something he doesn't already know. And we know how good he's been for this team in the regular season. We know the role he played in their 3 straight trips to the Stanley Cup final. We know that he's arguably the most talented player in the game right now. But you and I and everybody watching knows that your legacy is truly defined by what you do in the postseason. Everybody keeps saying the last couple of years, the Florida Panthers knew exactly what to do with Nikita Kucherov. Take away his time and space. You saw it last night. Montreal did a good job, and every single chance they had, they would slash him, they would hit him, they would try to throw him off his game, they'd try to piss him off. And I thought Nikita Kucherov did a decent job of staying cool, staying calm, staying even keel. And when he had the right time to strike, he fed the puck to Darren Radish, and they tied the game at 1. But Nikita Kucherov is the guy that has to turn up as much as anybody when the postseason starts with the Tampa Bay Lightning. Again, 15 straight games without a goal in the playoffs. It's even weird just saying that because of how dynamic he's been in the regular season. And this is a guy that's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's so freaking talented. There's a great chance he's going to win the Hart Trophy for the second time in his career for MVP. But Kuch has to look at how these teams have been playing him and adjust. Because if he doesn't adjust, it's going to be a quick exit for the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't care what happens with anybody else. Nikita Kucherov is that special and that important to the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's got to make sure that he's looking around and all the work that he's put in the offseason and all the things that he's learned about how teams are defending him over the last couple of postseasons and down the stretch here. And he's got to make the necessary adjustments or this team's going to be in trouble. I don't think that's hyperbole. I don't think it's opinion. I think it's fact. I'm very excited to see what Nikita Kucherov has up his sleeve for the postseason, because he understands what's going on. Listen, again, I'm not saying anything that Nikita Kucherov doesn't know himself. He is going to want to come out this year in this 2026 Stanley Cup playoffs and try to prove a point that he is the best player in the world, that him not scoring is an aberration and that's a thing of the past, and we're giving everybody else too much credit. Got no issue with that. The best players play their best when the lights are the brightest, and the lights are never brighter than in the Stanley Cup playoffs, because we know how tough it is to win. It's the hardest trophy to win in sports. I'm excited. I cannot wait. And, you know, when you talk about the 7 penalty kills last night, you just don't know, man. That's the other thing. You don't know with the officiating in Montreal because it's so crazy. It's just so funky and weird. Let's go to our guy. Eric Moreno wants to come on. I'll get you on, pal. There you go. If you guys want to hop on YouTube, there is the link right there. Eric Hall is also on TikTok. Also, we need to point to play like he can. We need him. You got that right, buddy. He's another guy. And I thought that he was playing better once they put him back with Nikita Kucherov. Together, that dynamic duo, again, you're only going to go as far as your big players take you. They have to step up. They have to rise to the occasion. And listen, it's been rough the last couple of years. It really has been. One second, guys. Hold on, my guy, Eric Marino. Come on, Eric. You're on there, buddy. Come on. Come on in. Come on in. Make sure you guys follow me on all social media platforms. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. I am everywhere. Cannot do this without you guys. So make sure you're following me. We are live every single day on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and now TikTok. Tampa Bay Lightning on TikTok. I felt like it was giving Montreal an incentive to play dirty. You know, I feel like that often the case. I don't disagree with you, man. I am not one of those people that often likes to blame the officials, but, you know, the disparity in the penalties last night, I was like, it just seemed like every single time they had one of those scrums, why were the Lightning, why were they the ones shorthanded? I didn't get that. It was just weird over and over and over. Like, come on, man. Give me something. I don't know. You almost have to laugh. You almost have to laugh because it seems like it's been like that forever. For as long as you can remember this Lightning team facing off with the Montreal Canadiens in the playoffs, like it's always the same stuff with them. Always. All right. Hold on. Bada bing, bada boom. Realest guy in the room. How you doing? Eric Moreno's joining the show. What's up, pal? How are you?
What's going on, Jay? Hey, is it football season yet? I don't know about the Rays, man. I mean, I'm not the biggest hockey fan in the world, but I think the Lightning can win another cup.
Yeah, I think so too, buddy. You're ready for football season now, aren't you?
I mean, the Rays. I mean, I don't know. I mean, at least the Yankees lost 2 out of 3, and the division is not really. You know, everyone's hovering over, kind of over 500. The Yankees are like 8-5. So
yeah,
maybe we can sweep them, or I don't know. I don't know if
Rasmussen should be able to pitch on Saturday, so that'll.
And then McClanahan Sunday.
Yeah, so should be a good one. Who do you think the Bucks are going to draft at 15, brother? What position you want?
Edge rusher. Or trade down and get like a corner, and I think we're good at safety. We got Roberts, we got Antoine, we got Tyke.
Yeah.
Someone said, Mesidor, but he's 25 and
he's old, man. He's almost as old as me.
Hey, I'm 31, so yeah.
You're a young buck, buddy. You're a young buck.
Yeah, I mean, someone said Kenan Sadiq, but I mean, we got On, we got Culp, we got Durham, so
defense, brother.
Yeah. How you been?
I'm good, buddy. I'm good. How you holding up?
Yeah, it's been good.
Good, man. Well, you stay strong, brother. You know we all love you here on the show, and we're always here for you, bro. Whatever you need, you let us know, and football will be back before you know it. And man, get into the Lightning a little. E, now's the time, baby. Now's the time with the playoffs, brother. Do some homework.
Cooch, Point, Hedman. Is Hedman gonna be ready or no?
Hedman, it doesn't look like he'll be ready, but Cooch and Pointer, brother. Look them up, man. Do some homework, bro. I'm giving you some homework to do. Get up on the board, brother. We need you. We need you on the bandwagon.
All right. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate you.
Eric. Thanks, pal. Our guy, Eric Marino. We love having him on the program. For those of you who don't know, Eric lost his dad, and a big Buccaneers fan. And Eric is he's our guy, man. He's our guy. He was going through some tough times, and we were able to help him through it, and we continue to help him through it. We love him. E, we love you, bro. We're always here for you. You are one of the members of the Wrecking Crew, no doubt about it. Speaking of the Wrecking Crew, guys, yesterday, I locked it in. Yesterday. Monday, the store is open. The store that will have the Jay Recher podcast t-shirts and hats will be open on Monday. If you didn't see the logo, let me see if I could find the logo Marissa, if you have the logo handy and you're listening, can you text it to me so I don't have to search for it right now? I don't think I have it. It's going to take a while for me to find it. Oh, wait, no. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I got it. Never mind. I got it, Marissa. I got it. All right. So this is the logo right here. Boom. What do you think? What do you think, guys? I'm a fan. I'm a fan. J Recher Podcast logo. For those that are watching on TikTok, there's the logo. J Recher Podcast. So there you go, man. We are making moves. We are making moves. The shirts and the hats will be ready on Monday. So cannot wait for that. We'll have a full color shirt. It's going to be a black shirt. Okay. Black shirt with the color logo on it. And you have the ability to get your name and number on the back, which I think is badass. And then there's also a one color one. So just like on a regular t-shirt, because those are going to be almost like a dry fit. And then the other ones will be like a tri-blend cotton t-shirt. And that'll be one color. So you can get that in any color. And that logo will just be kind of black and white. So yeah, man, super excited about the, hold on. I'm going to pull out the black and white one for you guys. There you go. So there's the black and white one. So you'll get that on your shirt or the color one on like a dry fit shirt. So yeah, very exciting stuff. And then we'll have a hat. So this colored hat will be like not like a patch. It's going to be like a rubber stamp, and it's going to be on the hat, and it's going to have like the little rope on it. Like you see a lot of the shirts, a lot of the hats. So man, we're rolling, bro. We are rolling. Cannot wait. So yeah, it'll be pretty badass. Monday, the store opens. Miguelo, especial, mi amigo, gracias. Thank you so much. $20 super chat. I can't thank you enough, man. 3 super chats today. You guys are the best. It's Super Chat Friday. What Lightning or Bucks player would make a good UFC fighter? Josh Hockett is making a good transition. Would you allow Wirfs to wrestle in RAF? No, I would not. No, I would not. He already has a bunch of injuries. I would say no. He would probably be the best one because the wrestling has the best base. So yeah, merch is coming up, baby. Merch is coming up. Local artists did it, so it was really, really good stuff. So love you guys. You guys are the best. Rays in action against the New York Yankees. I know a lot of the talk over the last couple of days is the new stuff with the stadium, and everybody has to vote on it by June 1st. And we see the new memorandum that is letting everybody know that the Tampa Bay Rays ownership is going to pay for more than half, and they're going to need a boatload of money from the city and the county. I was trying to get Ken Hagan on, county commissioner, good friend of the program. He's busy today, so we're going to try to get him on next week. If it doesn't work here, it's not going to work. I hope everybody knows this. This is so important to be able to get this done. I have faith in a guy like Ken Hagan because I know how big of a baseball fan he is. I've known Ken even before I ever got into radio. I met him when we won the World Series in 2011, when we won the Pony World Series. We were commended by the city council as well as the county commissioners and the mayor at the time, Bob Buckhorn. And I met Ken Hagan because he was a friend of my guy, Jay Evans. They played together growing up. And I know that Ken's a baseball guy. And whether you agree with his politics or not, he is doing whatever it takes to make this happen. And when I spoke to Ken, it's just, if it's going to get done, Ken's going to be the guy that's going to spearhead it and get it done. But there's a lot of moving parts. And there's a lot of discussions that need to be had because there was money that is supposed to go to Benchmark International Arena and George Steinbrenner Field. And what we heard from the county administrator, it's that money is going to have to be used for a new baseball stadium. And then, oh yeah, what about Raymond James Stadium? They're looking for $100 million for renovations too. We need Ray J to stay at the top because we need Super Bowls. We need national championship games. We need WrestleManias. We need soccer matches. England's coming here before the World Cup to play against New Zealand. We need to have a venue for these big time events, and we need to say state of the art. So it's tough, man. It is not going to be easy, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen now. And I hope that we make it happen. I really do. All right. So it is time for our first interview of the day. We recorded it beforehand. It was our guy, Michael Senay, our USF Baseball. Well, it's not paying for the Yankees. It's George Steinbrenner Field. And listen, let's not forget the amount of tourist money that we get from them being here. And they've given back a lot. The Yankees have given back a lot. Steinbrenner family has given back a lot to the Tampa Bay area over the years. And I know this is something that I've heard from friends of mine where my buddy played in the Pony World Series in Hawaii years ago in the late 90s. And the Steinbrenner family stroked a check to the local Little League for $20,000. Enough said. So just little things like that you may not always hear. It's a huge part of it. All right, let's get into our first interview of the day. Again, I recorded this earlier. It's with Michael Senay, right-hander. All right, he's here. I'll pull myself out of it. Recorded earlier with USF right-hander Michael Senay. Enjoy, folks. Best pitchers in the nation. Freshman right-hander for our USF Bulls, Michael Senay. What's up, Mike? How are things?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Listen, that you have for the rest of the season.
Right now we're rolling. We had some few hits, but right now the vibe is just it's cool.
They are. Yeah. All right, Mike. Before I let you go,
Some few hits, but right now the vibe is just it's cool. I mean, we're trying to move forward, still trying to win more games, but right now it's going all good right now.
what's worked for you? I mean, 6-0. I mean, it's a lot of accolades already throughout the season. I mean, as a freshman, you've made such a profound impact. And I know talking to Coach Hannes before the season, he was, hey, guys have to show themselves. Guys have to grab these opportunities. And you've seemingly really done that for USF. So what's worked for you so far?
Just making sure I throw the pitches in the right place as a starting pitcher, making sure I go long distance. That's what every coach wants. So I just try to give them what they need and not try to chase velo very much, but just try to really execute every pitch.
You had a lot of offers coming out of high school, man, and pretty much every school in the state too. What was it about USF? What was it, about this program and year two under Mitch Hannes that made you believe that USF was the right choice for you?
So I knew that Coach Hannes was at ISU and they had like a really good run through regionals, I think super regionals as well. And when he came to USF, the first year he was there, like really changed. So that gave me like a little idea, like he was up to something. And then there's also a former major league player, our coach, pitching coach, Daniel Schlereth. I really went to go for development as well. So if he could take me under his wing and make me understand how the game works or like try to develop anything new, then that's where I really wanted to go.
Was that something that you decided? Was that something that was the family? Like, who spearheaded that decision of like, hey, this is what I want to focus on as far as making my selection to pitch at the next level?
It was mainly me. My parents just supported me for every decision I made for college. So, I mean, they weren't against it. They were fully going for it too. So,
love that, man. I love that. And what kind of, and obviously pitching, and representing the Czechs. I mean, you had to turn down the option to go pitch in the World Baseball Classic. But what does that mean to be able to like represent a country on a big stage and to be able to get that opportunity, to be able to just make that decision at all? And how does that type of, responsibility, how does that get you ready kind of for the next level and pitching at the D1 level?
So why turn down the WBC offer?
Yeah, just the ability to like represent your nation, because you played for them for the under 18s, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So what was that? How did that experience help you, at this level? I mean, obviously playing, for a country, and you're going on big time competitions there, and obviously representing, your mom's, Nate, that's your mom, where your mom's from. So, what did that mean, and how did that help you to be able to get ready for the college level?
Being invited to that was a really special offer, special meaning. I got to play against other countries who are also very well. So when we go out for away trips like Taiwan, Japan, or like anywhere else in Europe, um, we play those other countries, and it's kind of like a big step forward in the level of baseball. So once
Right.
I really got like in it for a few years, then I got like the groove of it. I like trust the pitching coach, what he says to do there. And so after Taiwan, Japan, I knew that with the confidence I could bring into the college level after pitching against them, I
Mhm.
knew I could just be on a smooth sail.
Yeah, and I just feel like the maturity is one thing that we've heard a lot about you. And I was actually just speaking about this the other day with Shane McClanahan, a former Bull, and the importance to stay even keel and to stay level headed. How important is that for you when we saw it in the last game, pitching for you? Like sometimes things could go wrong, and sometimes things can go crazy around you, but you got to stay even keel. How important is that for you, as far as, we talk about the physical side, but also the mental side?
Yeah, I mean, trying to not get ahead of yourself, trying to worry about too much. It's just not a good thing on the mound. It's all mental, 90% mental on the mound. We talk about it every day. We gotta have like that dog mentality. Um, Making sure we just get the pitches in the zone, try not to do too much. When you get into a trouble, like basically had.
Right. Who are some of the players on transition to the college level?
My pitching coach all 4 years of high school.
Mhm.
His name is Sal Lombardo,
Nice.
and he's like the founder of Scorps, and
Okay.
he, he took me under his wing for 4 years, and he really taught me how to be level with my body and just think about what college pitching could be against hitters and all that stuff. So he really helped me out.
When you played at that level, and I coach now, some travel ball, and what does that do? I mean, there's a lot of people, they look at like the all right, travel ball is like it's such a negative thing, but man, it really does when you play against some of that high competition, and when you get good coaching, it really does set you up for success. I feel like it's travel ball, and with Scorp's organization being so popular over the years, it gets a bad rap sometimes, doesn't it? Right? I feel like there's a lot of good leaders out there, and there's a lot of good mentors out there for young athletes. Do you agree with that?
Of course.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy how when you look at baseball, it's a game of failure, and I think if when you learn early on the importance of learning how to deal with that stuff, I think you're better off in the long run. What do you like to do to decompress, Mike, when you're off the baseball field? What do you do to kind of take your mind off the game?
Just head back in my room and not think about the game. I mean, thinking too much about games puts stress, or like if you have a bad outing, it's just gonna make you less confident. So you just gotta like do anything else, hang out with friends, or like go grab dinner, or just hop on a game.
Yeah. Are you a gamer?
Yeah, I am.
What are you playing? What's the big game for you?
Right now, MLB The Show 26.
Ah, okay. So when you do MLB, are you playing online? Are you doing the road to the show? What mode are you playing?
I do Diamond Dynasty, the only thing.
That's I haven't played in a couple years, but Diamond Dynasty with all the different cards and everything, I enjoy it, man. I think it was a lot of fun. Are you good? Do you get? I thought I was good. I thought I was like, man, I'm picking it up, and then I heard from one of my former players like, Coach, you got to get a smaller TV with a special thing, and I'm just like, bro, I don't play that much. How good are you when you're going up against some of these other players out there?
I mean, I'm not that well. I just got a console, Xbox, about a few weeks ago, so I just joined the game like for the first time. So
Nice.
I don't want to say I'm too bad, but I'm getting
Yeah,
there.
I hear you. If you could model if you say, if nobody's ever seen you pitch before, Mike, Is there a major league pitcher out there right now that you would say, like, I pitch like that guy, or I try to resemble that dude right there?
Hmm. I don't really know. Who can I?
Or even maybe, how about a pitcher that influenced you growing up? Was there any pitchers or players overall that you looked at and said, that's my favorite, that's my guy, or that's a guy that I want to be like when I get bigger?
Like Trevor Bauer. Trevor
Yeah.
Bauer is, yeah, a lot of different types of pitches, great
Mhm.
movement, great velocity. That's and the great mentality. Great. He's a dog
Right.
on the mound.
Are you like that as far, because he was very early in to spin rate, spin efficiency, and really understanding the crafting of pitches? Are you that same way? I know you talk about that dog mentality, and sometimes it's like some guys are the more the analytical type, some of the more like, I'm the bulldog, get the heck out of my way. I'm just trying to go 7, 8, 9 strong. Where are you heavy into the analytics part of the pitching, or aren't you?
No, I'm not really about the spin efficiency or like
Mhm.
the RPMs and all that. I'm just worried about if like the ball moves the same like every time I
Right.
throw it. So
What
just
are you more focused on between starts? Are you more focused on physical stuff or mental stuff?
physical, just trying to get
Yeah.
my body loose.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What's your off day? So like a day like today, what's your focus on a day like today?
The day before my start would be just making sure I get the mechanics right, making sure I'm fluid, I'm going about 120 feet, letting it loose, not trying to pull down or anything.
Yeah, I love that. So now with this team, what's Coach Mitch Hanna's message right now as you guys have, like, you're smack dab in the middle of the season, you've had some success, you had some ups, you've had some downs. What's Coach Mitch Hanna's telling you guys right now?
Take accountability, seeing how hard we can fight against other teams, good teams. We got to fight hard every day.
He seems to be pretty stoic, man. Does he you ever see a lighter side to Coach Mitch Hannes? He's very professional and buttoned up to the outside. Do you ever see him kind of let his hair down a little bit?
There's a couple days in a month where he gets loose, where he smiles, but I mean, I'm fine with him not. I mean, he's just a great coach.
Yeah, he is. I'm always busting his chops. Like, man, you got teeth, bro. You know how to smile. But I think the way, and how does that affect the team, Mike? Because, like you said, everybody, it's great to be a friendly guy or a player's coach, but you just want a good coach. I mean, like, what is it really about him that sets the standard for USF? Because you said it attracted you to this school. What is it about Coach Mitch Hannes, do you think, that makes him successful as a college baseball coach?
Setting a higher standard, discipline, making sure we work hard every moment of the day.
I feel like some of the best programs, Mike, are the ones where the players kind of take heed from that, right? Where it's a player driven and a player run program. Who are some of the
Mhm.
guys that are able to establish that? I know it's difficult in year one. Now, year two, you have guys that, Brad Key was there last year. You have a couple of the other guys that have been around last year. So they kind of know what his standards and expectations are. Who are some of those guys that are able to establish that and to keep that standard high when he's not the guy, talking about that?
I would say Jay Green, Brad Key, Kulo, Pruitt, most of our infielders. So
Yeah. What is it like to have a guy like Relaford behind you and to see him on the field? Because that guy's quicker than a hiccup, man. He's a fun dude to watch,
yeah,
ain't he?
yeah. I mean, him at shore, it's like a dream. You get what like 10 ground balls to him per game, and it's like all out. So it's like amazing.
Automatic, right?
Yeah.
What do you guys talk about as far as goals? I mean, you want to live in the moment, right? You want to not get too far ahead of yourselves, but what is the goal as far as, like, do you guys talk about winning the conference tournament? Do you talk about NCAAs? Do you talk about any of that type of stuff? Or is there a concern that you get too far ahead of yourself and just kind of focus day by day?
Yeah, we kind of focus day by day, fighting hard every moment, but we do like say sometimes we got to win the conference tournament, beat the teams there, and just make it to Omaha.
What has it been like for you, man? Like I was just mentioning before, you get these awards in the middle of the season. Everybody's talking about, how good of a freshman you are, and you're getting national recognition, not just conference recognition. How do you not let that get you too far ahead of yourselves? How do you how do you yourself stay grounded in a situation like that?
Well, I know the season isn't over with, so I barely have won anything. So I'm just trying to get like the real thing at the very end of the season. Just keep working.
Yeah. And where does that mindset come from, Mike?
Just being very competitive.
Does that come from your family? Like how much of the makeup that you have on the mound, how much does that come from your family and your upbringing?
I'll say just my dad and my grandpa from Czech.
Mhm.
Like we compete in soccer and Czech because my little brother likes it, so we just compete. And then my dad, we would like run basketball outside in the yard and like throw baseballs to each other, so you could like throw the hardest or hit the hardest off each other. So
I love. Do you speak Czech too?
I do.
Unbelievable. I love that. What do you any other sports? What's your favorite sport outside of baseball?
I would say either volleyball or basketball.
Really? Okay, I played volleyball growing up too. It was big up in New York when I grew up there. It was great. It was the only sport that I could play between baseball and hockey, so it worked out really well.
Mhm.
What about David Pasternak? He's one of my favorite players I've ever covered from Czech Boston Bruins. You like hockey at all?
No, I don't watch hockey.
No, really. That's surprising, man, especially with the Lightning being as big as they are.
Yeah.
All right, Mike, before I let you go, man, what are some of the personal goals that you have for the rest of the season?
Um, Making sure I still have a perfect record, like 100% win. Making sure I get the team all the way to Omaha.
I
That's
love
my
it.
goal.
Mike, well, I appreciate your time today, man. Keep up the great work. Best of luck the rest of the year. Tell Coach Michanas I say hello if you ever get a chance to talk to him, because he's very stoic and stays on his own. But if you ever get to throw a joke in there, say Jay Recher told him I said hello. So I appreciate it, Mike. Thanks, man. Best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
All right, there you go. Mike Senay joining us on the program here. Flippity flip. Flippity flip. Kid's been unbelievable. 6-0 for the USF Bulls this year. I mean, the guy's just been all over it. And again, go usfbulls.com. I'll be at the softball game tonight at around 6:30. So make sure if you go to the game, you come on by and say hello. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube. A big thank you to the 3 super chats we've already had: Victor Boucher, David Terry, and Miguelo Especial. Thank you guys so freaking much. Hit that like button. Whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter, or TikTok, hit that like button. Send me some gifts and super chats, because that's the only way we're going to keep this train on the tracks and continue to do the show. And of course, our partners cannot forget Honest Hammer Custom Builders LLC and Evra Health as well. Honest Hammer, we had Hammer on the program yesterday, an award winner because of that new custom build. If you have a plot of land and you're looking for a new custom build, go with Honest Hammer Custom Builders, 813-244-0956. He's almost as talented as my friend Katie Summers, who's watching me right now. That you can check her out every single morning on the Joe Show on 93.3 FLZ. Love you, Katie and Sean and Joe and Jed and everybody over there. You guys are the best. You're the best. Honest Hammer Custom Builders for all your residential and commercial needs. CGC 153-1166. That's the general contractor number for him. Go to thehonesthammer.com, thehonesthammer@gmail.com. Shoot him an email and you get a discount on any of the stuff that you need done, because you heard it right here on the Jay Recher podcast. He was just telling me how he went to Ray's opening day and he was outside of Fergs and people were like, "Oh man, Honest Hammer, I remember you. I know you from the Jay Recher podcast." That's a good thing. And of course, EverHealth, everhealth.org, 17 different locations in Pinellas County. They want to help you from the cradle to the grave. They can do a little bit of everything. Just head on over. They have a sliding scale for the uninsured. They take all kinds of insurance. And by seeing the EverHealth injury report every single Thursday on the show with Dr. Carlos Rodriguez, how great they are. The people are just like Doc. So humble, educational, down to earth. And if you want to change your job, if you want to have a career, EverHealth Institute is something that you should really, really check into. It's very similar to the broadcasting school that I went to. So again, everhealth.org. I want to get to one of these questions that I saw from Zach on TikTok. Do we think the Lightning turn it around? Are we looking at another first round exit? I hope it's not another first round exit, but I could see an issue with this team if they don't get healthy. Like, I can see them going, all right, well, we lost in the first round, but we blame the injuries, blame the condensed schedule. I'm not going to want to hear that. I'm not going to want to hear any of the reasons why they lost. Like, they still have enough. They still have enough firepower. And I'm just hoping that they find an extra gear. And that's what happens in the playoffs. And if you missed the chat with Eric Erlinson from lightninginsider.com from earlier this week, we said as much. We said as much of, like, there's no correlation with the regular season and with the playoffs. All right, that's fine. But with that being said, if you don't turn it around and you don't get out of the first round at the very least, people are going to say, look at how poorly they played down the stretch. That's just the way it goes. Zach also wants to know on TikTok, is Hagel actually hurt? Are we resting him for the playoffs? I think he's not. I don't think he's 100%, but I think he'll be ready for the playoffs. I think he'll be in there. Again, he's been walking around. I'm pretty sure he's been traveling with the team. I'm not as concerned about Brandon Hagel maybe as some of the other guys on the team. If you guys have any questions, remember, it is an Ask Me Anything Friday. Feel free to do so. Ask me anything that you got here on this Friday, whether you're watching on TikTok, whether you're watching on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitter. We'll take all your questions as far as the Masters goes. Can Rory McIlroy go back-to-back? He looks good. He looks solid. He doesn't look like a guy that, all right, well, I just won last year and I can just kind of, disappear into the shadows and you won't hear from me again. Not Rory. He doesn't tee off until 1:44 today, so still about an hour until we see him anyway. He is still tied for first at 5 under after shooting a first-round 67 yesterday to tie Sam Burns, who just finished up his first hole of the day. He's even par for the day. He's also 5 under. Wyndham Clark, after an even par yesterday, 4 under today, 68. So he's tied for second with Justin Rose. Also, Tyrrell Hatton in there at 3 under. He's shooting a 5 under today after 2 over yesterday. Kirk Hitsuyama, he did good. He had a pretty good day yesterday. He's through 3. He's at 3 under, as well as Jason Day and Patrick Reed. Neither of those guys have yet to tee off. And then 2 under, we have Chris Goddard, Ben Griffin, Shane Lowry, Xander Schauffele, and then we have a slew of names at 1 under: Jordan Spieth, Brooks Koepka, Harris English, Scotty Scheffler, Christopher Rayton, and Nick Taylor, and Tommy Fleetwood as well. I picked Bryson DeChambeau, who was 4 over yesterday. Right now, the projected cut is 4 over. So with the projected cut at 4 over, it means Bryson DeChambeau could still be in it. You got to do a lot better, buddy. Got to do a lot better than this. And there's been a lot of talks of the Masters and how they're trying to incorporate more people from the outside and getting a Jason Kelce involved and getting a Kevin Hart involved. And, the Masters is very stuffy and there are some very old school rules there. I mean, my uncle was just texting a little bit earlier today, complaining about the lack of cable TV coverage for the Masters. And that's just kind of the way it is. And when you look at the rights to this tournament, and you can see it if you just go anywhere, it's on CBS, it's on ESPN, it's on ESPN Plus, it's on Prime Video, it's on Paramount Plus. Like, they know the deal. They are very smart with it. They understand that they're going to try to send it out to the highest bidder, and whatever works for them, they're just going to keep printing money because this is such an incredible event. Every single year, all eyes of the golf world around the world are on this tournament this weekend. And when you win it and you get that green jacket, you go down in the history books and nobody can ever take it away from you. iShine813, go Knicks, bang. You got that right. A huge win for the Knicks last night over the Boston Celtics. It looked like Boston was pushing at the beginning of the fourth, but when they brought Jalen Brunson back in and Josh Hart was the ultimate closer, don't be surprised if those teams don't see each other in the second round of the playoffs. It looks like they'll finish with the 2 and 3 seeds, Boston and New York, respectively. Zach wants to know, do I think the Rays make the playoffs? No, I don't. I don't think the Rays make the playoffs. With all the talk about the stadium and the future of this team, I think a lot of people are ignoring what they're seeing on the field. And it's not good. The lack of fundamentals is just mind-boggling for a team that does not have big-time power. I don't quite understand. If you're a team that can't pay for big-time free agents, whether it's starting pitching or stud batters, big-time guys that can, guys with a bunch of pop in the middle of the lineup, guys that are going to hit 40 home runs and drive in 100 RBIs, you better have good fundamentals. Whether that's base running, whether that's defense. The defense has been putrid. It's been hard through this first portion of the season. And some people will say, well, they'll figure it out. They'll fix it. That's not the point. Right now, it's not the point whether that is going to happen all year long. The fact that the real point is that it has happened. You're supposed to be clean defensively to start the year. You just focused on fundamentals and doing things the right way in spring training. And you're making mistakes. You're supposed to be a team that prides itself on pitching and defense, and you're not doing that. That's why you are where you are in the standings. And that's why there's a lot of fans right now wondering, what is the rest of the year going to look like for the Tampa Bay Rays? If you're going to have days when you're not going to hit, okay, fine. But you better be able to pick it. You better be able to run the bases correctly. And again, early on, the signs of this team being a good ball club, I don't see it. The fact that Jonathan Aranda, down 7-0 the other day at the end of the game, is admiring a ball that he hit, and it hits the top of the fence. Not a good look. The fact that you're down 4 runs in the 9th inning and Chandler Simpson gets thrown out at third base, not a good look. So you can talk about anything else when it comes to the Rays. But the lack of fundamentals to start the season is just not good enough. Fundamentals don't cost $1. And one thing that we've always been able to hang our hats on when it comes to the Rays, whether it was Kevin Cash's teams or Joe Maddon's teams, smart baseball, smart players, good fundamentals, pitching and defense. Can anybody raise their hand and say they've seen that through the 2026 season so far? I'm certainly not one of them. They better turn it around quick, or it is going to be a long year for Rays fans. And all anybody's going to be talking about when it comes to the Rays is about the stadium in the future. And they won't be talking about the club for this year. And that's sad, because I really wanted to see this team do some things and surprise some people, but we're not seeing it. We are not seeing it. Zach's asking here on TikTok, is it time to fire Cash? I wouldn't go that far. But who's to blame when the team has poor fundamentals? Who's the team to blame when there's poor fundamentals? It's the head, it's the manager, it's the coach. He's got to do better. He's got to do better. Kyle Snyder's got to do better. I mean, it's just the way it is. I don't know if that's necessarily opinion. It's fact. And again, it's not personal. I want the guys to do well, but you can't make silly mistakes. When you do that, it's going to cost you, and you're going to fall behind. You're going to have a good game to start the series against the Chicago Cubs, but the next 2 games of the series, it's rough. The Rays need to step it up. And listen, the invasion's coming this weekend. I hope you're all ready. You know how many New Yorkers live down here. Yankees, Rays always brings out the worst in everybody. Rays fans get so upset when the Yankees are in town, but that's just kind of the nature of the beast. but we've seen in years past the Rays play better at times, and it kind of stokes a flame inside of them when the Yankees are in town. Us against the world mentality. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. What I don't hate as well is how well these guys have been playing to start the season. Let's bring them in. Our head coach of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, the reigning, defending USL Championship Coach of the Month, and I just one of my favorite people here in the Tampa Bay area, Coach Dominic Casciato. Coach Dom, what's going on, brother? How are you?
Jay, good to see you, man. Good to see my favorite journalist as well.
My man. USL Championship Coach of the Month. How does it feel?
No, it's good. Listen, I think it's great recognition, not for me, but for all of the staff and the players, right? The players have been wonderful since day one of pre-season. We've put more or less a new group together and they've bought into everything we've asked them to do. And I think, Jay, if you remember back to one of our first conversations, we spoke about giving you a team you could be proud of again. And I think we're working towards that. So really pleased to get that recognition for the group.
Yeah, listen, and I love so many, and it was so nice, and I'm so glad that you got to meet my parents, their first ever soccer game that they've been to outside of 6, 7, and 8-year-olds. Now my 3 nieces are playing on the same team. Now they're great, and they're part of the mob now, which is great. But to watch, there's so many different standout players for you this year. And of course, and we'll talk about the different guys that are putting the ball in the net, but man, to see how the defense has come together, to see how the midfield has come together. It's great to have an abundance of goal scorers, but it just seems like there's a good connectivity with the group. Do you feel that right now? Is that too much to say, even though it's only been 4 games so far?
No, I think you feel things, right? As humans, right? You get feelings from people, from teams, from groups, from different environments that you go in. And I think really from day one, we felt a really good energy about this group. Now that doesn't mean we're going to do anything together. But the energy that we've felt has been a positive energy, has been an energy that everyone's pulling in the same direction. And I think that energy comes from our recruitment process, right? I think guys like Ryan Helfrich and Nico Castillo, they deserve a lot of credit for their role in getting the right people in the building. So I think we've got great people representing the Rowdies right now, and I think obviously some great players, right, which is what you allude to there. But I think a lot of it comes from that energy within the locker room, from the way the players have taken ownership of the team and taken on board all of the ideas that we've tried to give them.
We're not giving Ryan Helfrich any credit whatsoever. I'm kidding. Ryan's one of my good friends. I love the guy. And I was texting him after it was the most perfect timing ever. I get home from the Lightning game. I sit down on my couch, and I was following along with the game at the Lightning game. And I turn the TV on, and it's literally the 3rd of 5 minutes. So it's the 93rd minute. And I'm like, all right, come on. They got possession. Let's go. And then the cross goes in, and I get up, and I'm yelling at my TV. My roommate comes home right as I'm yelling. She's looking at me like, what the heck happened? I go, the Rowdies just scored. Just going. What is that like in a game like that when it's 0-0? And listen, Man U had Fergie time. You guys have Tampa time. What is it like when it's 0-0 and you score that goal? Because it's almost like you're waiting and you're waiting and you're waiting. It's one thing to get a late winner when it's a 3-2 game or a 2-1 game, when there's no scoring at all, and you get that late winner from Conway. I mean, what was that feeling like?
Yeah, I don't know if there is a better feeling. You know, we spoke about this. Obviously, it's great if you win comfortably and you win by 3 or 4, right? And you can kind of relax a little bit. But I think that tension that builds over 90, 93, 94 minutes, and then to score right at death there, when it looks like, all right, maybe you're going to drop 2 points this weekend. I think that's an unbelievable feeling that we were lucky enough to feel last week. So, yeah, it's an incredible feeling. I think it was a just reward as well, Jay. If you watch the previous 93, 94 minutes of the game, you know, I thought we were pretty dominant. We were knocking on the door, had a lot of possession, played most of the game in the attacking half and just couldn't quite get that breakthrough. So really pleased and proud of the guys that they kept playing our way, and eventually that led to, you know, a great goal from Evan coming off the bench, and then obviously 3 points on the road, which was a great feeling.
Yeah, and we know with the table, right? You don't want to. I'm always looking at the dang thing. I'm always looking at. It's like stay up there, because last year was so weird. And how nice is it for you to be able to, like, you knew what it didn't look like last year. And you and I spoke about this on the record and off the record, just about like, man, we just got to change. We got to get better. How nice is it? And again, I know you don't want to get too far ahead of yourself.
Sure.
But how nice is it to know, like, hey, the processes that we've put in place in the preseason, you guys played a ton of exhibition games. At least the early returns give your guys, the whole group, like, hey, we're on the right track.
Yeah, I think, again, we don't want to get too carried away, but I think you kind of see it with the performances. And then, the thing is, Jay, most of the time it takes a little while for the results to catch up to the performances, right, when there's a new group put together. So I think it's really pleasing that we've been able to get the results that match up with the performances so far. I don't think anyone can really take any notice of the table until you're probably 10 games in. But I do think it's really pleasing that results have matched performances. And I think the important thing, Jay, and this kind of comes back to what you spoke about earlier in terms of the energy around the group and the feeling around the group, is, there's going to come a point where, we drop points, right, and we go into a little bit of a lull. That happens over a 10-month season. But I think the important thing is we stick together in those moments like we are now, and we keep trying to play the way we're playing, even when things don't go well, which will inevitably happen over the course of a season. And I think this team is going to do just fine. And the exciting thing for me, Jay, is we're just getting started here, right? We've only just started working together, and I think what we've done so far has been really good, but there's a huge room for growth, and I think it's going to get the fans really excited and the community behind us even more.
When you have a guy like Lewis Hilton carry over from last year, and there's so many different new faces, I mean, again, I was telling my dad, and I go, watch 4. And I go, don't watch him now. Watch him in the 87th minute. And he goes, okay, in the 87th minute, he's in front. He's a midfielder playing deep most of the time, and he's out in front of everybody on the press in the 87th minute. He goes, that guy doesn't freaking stop. And I go, I don't know what it is. Like, there's just certain people on this planet that are like that. How key has he been, wearing that captain's armband and just being right in the middle and just really, turning back the clock a little bit, man? It just seems like that he's the energizer runner for you guys.
Yeah, Lewis is a great player. He's been a top player at this level for a number of years now, and I think we're very fortunate to have him. He's got a really pure heart, Lewis, and he loves the game. He loves this club, and I think you see that in the way that he runs around out there and the way he plays the game. You're always going to get an honest day's work out of Lewis. He's always going to give you absolutely everything that he has, and that's the reason why he's lasted at this level and at this club for so long. And he's obviously a very important player for us. I think he really sets the example with the way he carries himself, with the way he practices every day. The younger guys or the new guys see someone like Lewis doing it, who's been here and won here. And I think that sets the standard for everybody else in terms of, okay, well, if he's working like that, I need to work like that. So, yeah, we feel really blessed to have Lewis. And obviously he's been a great contributor so far this season.
Whenever I'm feeling down, I just turn back to the old 99 Champions League final when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Teddy Sheringham scored at the death there to beat Bayern Munich to complete the treble. And the one thing that always sticks out to me about that team was that neither one of those guys were starters. Like, you had Dwight York, you had Andy Cole, and it's amazing because people say, why wouldn't they start? And when I look at your team this year and you look at the guys that you have coming off the bench with MD and you have Conway, like, it's incredible, because I think one of the big things last year was like, all right, well, you didn't really know the goals were coming from. And, there was obviously a lot of transition, but you need to be able to come at people in waves, from whether you're starters or guys on the bench. How do you manage that? Because I'm sure those guys want to start. And when they're scoring goals, everybody like, oh, yeah, it's great to have these super subs. But those guys probably want to start. They're like, well, I feel like I'm earning my way. Like, how do you balance that out? I know it is a long season, like you said, but how do you manage those expectations, and how do you rotate those guys up front? Because, goal scorers are a little, they got to be a little greedy, because, it's the hardest thing to do in the game.
Yeah, I think some of it for us has been circumstantial, Jay. MD picked up an injury a couple of weeks into pre-season where we needed to rest him, and we're still kind of building him up to full fitness. And the same thing with Evan. Evan, unfortunately, was injured at the end of last season. Came into camp carrying an injury that lasted a little bit longer than we thought it would. So we're still building Evan up to full fitness. I think when everybody is fit and flying, my job's going to be really difficult to get everyone on the pitch. Maybe we'll try and play with 12 or 13 players on some days. But no, look, I think the message we've been sending, Jay, is that everybody on this team is responsible for our success or our failure, right? If we do really well, it's because everybody is contributing. And if we do poorly, it's because everyone's contributed and probably some of us not in the right ways, right? Or I haven't done my job properly. So I think for me, in terms of how you manage those players, right, who are coming into the team, or guys that are knocking on the door and want to start games, it's about making sure that I'm honest with them, that I have direct and clear communication with them, that, hey, this is what you're doing really well. This is what you need to improve if you want to improve your position on the squad in terms of starting games or playing more minutes. And I think that's an ongoing conversation from week to week, Jay. You know, I think when I look back at my own playing career, which was very, very modest to say the least, I think one of the things that frustrated me the most is when I didn't have that communication, right? When I wasn't told, you know, why I wasn't starting a game, or if I'd been dropped for a game, or if I was left out of a squad. You just kind of got the manager's decision or the head coach's decision, and then you were left to process it on your own without any real understanding. And I think for players, they need to feel and understand, one, that you care, but two, like what it is they've got to do to improve their position on the squad. And I think when you give that communication, like any relationship, right, I think communication is really the bedrock of any strong relationship. So I try and have that with the players. I'm sure there's times where I don't get it right, but I try to make sure that I'm on top of that stuff, and that I let guys know why they're starting games and what they've got to do to keep starting games. And if they're not starting games or they're not in the squad, what they've got to do to change that.
I think some of the best teams, and we mentioned just Lewis, like being able to, you know, just be the carryover and just be, he's such a stalwart, not for just the team, but the community as well. Who are some of those other guys? Because obviously, like, those guys have to come to the forefront. We've talked about that before when I asked you about the armband. You're just like, those kind of guys, this has to happen naturally. What have you seen, or who have you seen kind of step to the forefront? Maybe as a leader, maybe as a guy that's, you know, maybe does it more with his actions rather than his words. Like, what are some of the characteristics of your team that has kind of shown itself through the first month or so?
Yeah, it's a good question, Jay. I think a lot of guys have stepped up to the plate. We've had a lot of different goal scorers. We've had a lot of guys that have contributed in important ways. I think you look at somebody like Sebastian Cruz, who came up from League One, that maybe not many people who didn't know Seb, you know, weren't expecting much from, but I think he's played every minute for us in 3 or 4 different spots and has been outstanding. So Seb is somebody that leads with the way he plays, with his effort levels every day, and just kind of gets his head down and works. Kind of similar to Lewis, to be honest, in that respect. Then you've got guys that maybe you look at and they have, you know, more noticeable leadership qualities. You know, someone like Nate Dos Santos is a tremendous leader. It's no surprise to me that he's won more or less everywhere he's been, right? And he's picked up trophies more or less everywhere he's been as well. So someone like Nate, Leland Archer, that we haven't seen yet, again, is a tremendous leader. He's working his way back into the team, into full fitness now. And then maybe on the more experienced side, you look at someone like Russell Cicerone at the other end of the pitch, who is just a real competitor. You know, every day in training, he wants to win every single activity, and he takes that onto the field. And I think that's a real great motivator, not just for the rest of the group, but also for the fans to see his passion and see how much he wants to win.
What was it like to have that first game in front of the crowd there a couple of weeks ago in front of the Al Lang? I mean, a heck of an audience. You give them a win. It just seems like the vibe is heck. There were some ugly games last year, and the fans were still there supporting you guys. And it's one of the more impressive things that I've seen in my entire time covering sports is how poor some of the results were, and the fans were still there, man. The Skyway Casuals, Rouse Mob, and even just the guys that don't come all the time. But now, like, there is a buzz back at Al Lang. Do you guys feel that on the pitch?
100%. The energy and the enthusiasm and the support that the fans give is contagious, right? It's infectious. And I think we're really lucky to have the best fans in the USL, maybe the best fans in the league or in the country at any level. So yeah, we're really fortunate to have those fans and to feel it. Yeah, they give you energy, right? They energize the players, they energize me and the staff. And I think that gives us a little extra boost. Right? I think you've seen that in the performances at home so far this season. We've scored 3 goals in both games. We knocked off the champions 3-0. So I think these things do give you real energy, and our fan base is just tremendous. So I'm glad that they're getting excited again. I think that energy is only going to grow the more that we do together.
What about cup competitions? How far out do you plan how that kind of thing is going to go? Because obviously that's when you're going to have your depth is going to be tested, right? So that might make your decisions maybe a little bit easier because if a guy picks up a knock or you're trying to move things around a little bit. How out in front do you kind of plan that, and how like far ahead do you look and say, all right, this is what we have to do here. This is where we might try to rotate some guys, or this guy could be a guy that can play back to back games kind of thing, full 90.
Yeah, I think it's always something that we look at, Jay. It's a great question. We're always looking at, okay, what games have we got coming up? Who do we think is best for which game, for which opponent? But then it's tough in this business because you can't lose sight of what's right in front of you.
Right.
Because you plan too much for the future, then you take your eye off the ball and you get upset, right? So for us now, our practice, our focus today was having a great practice this morning, which we had. And then, okay, now it shifts to let's have a great performance tomorrow night. And if we have a great performance, we've got a great chance to win the game. And then we'll worry about whatever comes next, later down the road. But yeah, when you get to the cup competitions, maybe it is an opportunity for guys that are chomping at the bit to play, to give them a start and let them run with it and try and take that opportunity. But every game we play, we want to win. Obviously we're not in the Open Cup this year, which makes our schedule a little bit lighter. Yeah. But no, we're looking forward to the cup competitions as much as we are the league as well.
Right. All right. I want to ask you, England's going to be here in a couple of months, which I'm totally jacked up about that, to be able to see them at Raymond James. And when you're not spending 23 and a half hours a day focused on the Rowdies, are you paying attention more to the international stuff or the league stuff in Europe? Like, what are you watching outside of the USL when it comes to soccer?
It's tough. Probably the Champions League. We don't have a huge capacity for anything other than rowdy stuff in the USL because we put so much into it, But
right.
Probably the Champions League. I'm a Spurs fan. I was a Spurs fan as a kid, so it's been a rough year. So the less attention I can put on Spurs right now, the better. But hopefully the Zerbi can turn things around for us.
I know, that's good. You excited about him?
Yeah, I think he's a great coach. I think he's an unbelievable coach. His teams always play great football and tend to get good results as well. So he's in a little bit of a time crunch now. I think there's only 7 games to go in the season. Mm-hmm. But hopefully he can come in and have an impact. Yeah, and just then take off from there,
What other do you golf? Are you a golfer?
I'm not a golfer. In terms of hobbies and stuff, Jay, is that what you're getting at? Like,
no, just the Masters is going on right now, and I was watching they were asking a bunch of the Premier League guys about who are you picking for the Masters? Mason Mount and a bunch of the other guys. Yeah, Justin Rose. I'm like, yeah, of course you're gonna pick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I guess what are you doing if you're not golfing then in your 35 seconds you have away from soccer life?
Yeah, normally just being given a run around by my son. I've got a 2-year-old at home, so he does a pretty good job of keeping me busy. He's actually in the little Rowdies right now, so he's just started kicking the ball around himself. So yeah, that's pretty much me, my wife and my little man, and that's about it.
Everybody loving the Tampa Bay area, man, now that you guys are kind of settled in?
Yes, we love it down here. We think it's paradise and feel really blessed to be here. We live in a great community in West Chase, so that really feels like home now. We've made friends and everyone's been so welcoming. So yeah, we feel so happy and so settled here.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you, buddy. The USL Championship Coach of the Month, our head coach for the Tampa Bay Rowdies, Dominic Casciato, rowdysoccer.com. Everybody get on over there Saturday night. I'm coaching in Clearwater in the morning, so I got plenty of time to get over there. So, Jake, make sure you fill out a credential for me, buddy. I'm working this Saturday, and I can't wait to go and see you guys go 5-0. Dom, I appreciate the time, brother. Always a pleasure, and give everybody my love. I'll see you Saturday night.
So, man, Jay, see you tomorrow.
You got it, buddy. Oh, yeah, it's tomorrow. Tomorrow night, baby. Rowdysoccer.com. Get on over there. If you haven't been to a Rowdies game, I took my girlfriend there. I took my family there. You can't beat it. It's the best atmosphere ever. And it's great because it's hot, it's cold, it's got a little bit of everything, but I love it. The Rowdies are the best, man. I'm telling you, it is unbelievable. And Marissa knows, she met him. Dom is the nicest guy. Football talk. You got that right, buddy. Love my Rowdies, man. I really do. They're so awesome. Don't feel bad. Dominic, Liverpool fan, knows how you feel, TT. You got that right, buddy. Shout out to everybody here on Tampa Bay Lightning. Our guy saying best coach in Tampa. Man, I am so pumped about the Rowdies. This is the best soccer I've seen in a while. No doubt about it. What's up to Paul Paglia over there? It is. This is the best Rowdies that I've seen probably since 2021. This is legit, man. They're so freaking good. God, I can't wait, man. Zach Mulheron, his son plays college soccer. Nice. Where? Let me know where. I want to know. Guys, again, the store opens on Monday for the J Recher podcast gear. There you go. Right there. Get your stuff. The J Recher podcast right there. We'll have shirts, we'll have hats, and we're just going to get bigger and better. And then eventually we're going to have special t-shirts made for St. Patrick's Day and breast cancer awareness and a bunch of different stuff. We're going to have a lot of fun with the J Recher podcast. Oh, playing for D2 Newberry. Good. That's awesome, Zach. So Monday, make sure you let everybody know. Buy some t-shirts, buy some hats for your friends, your family members. Again, these are the kind of things that are going to keep us rolling. All right. Tom Jones is going to join us at 1:30. We'll talk a little bit of everything when it comes to Tampa Bay sports. I want to ask him about the Diana Rossini thing and about the professionalism when it comes to just the way it's got to be when it comes to how you report on the news, right? And this kind of stuff is important. It really is. UFC 327 coming up tomorrow from Kaseya Center in Miami. The early prelims start at 5:30. The prelims start at 7, and then the main card on CBS and Paramount Plus 9 o'clock. And I tell you this. This is one of those cards where you want to watch from the beginning because there are names that you know. And there's going to be a lot of entertaining fights. This is one of the better cards through the first 4+ months of the year, or 3+ months of the year. And you look at the second fight on the card on the early prelims. Kelvin Gastelum will be fighting Vicente Luque. Now, Vicente Luque back on The Ultimate Fighter many, many years ago, fighting with the Black Zillions, and Kelvin Gastelum, a former title challenger at 185, and also alumnus of The Ultimate Fighter. Kelvin is one of those guys where if he would have really taken care of his health and not missed weight, who knows what his ceiling could have been like in mixed martial arts. But two big-time names, and then Chris Padilla and Markel Maderos. And then you look at the first card on the prelims. There's some huge names on the prelims. Lupe Godinez will face off with Tatiana Suarez, who's 12-1. Mateus Gamrot, who has been around for a while at 25-4 against Esteban Ribovic. Kevin Holland, who I don't get along with because he was kind of a dick to me when we interviewed him on WDAE back in the day. He was like, I don't even want to do this. And I was like, all right. And man, if you remember that interview, Zach got so mad. He was so aggravated, and deservedly so, rightly so, because this guy was a dick. And he was like, whatever. And I was just like, all right, Kevin, appreciate it. Thank you for your time. And I cut it off after like 2.5 minutes. That's it. Remember, when they used to reach out to us, right? That's the way it goes. UFC would reach out to the radio stations and, hey, we want to get this guy on and blah, blah, blah. And like, we said, okay, big name. We want to help you promote the show. And then you're like, you act like you don't want to be there. Like, dude. And I wasn't asking it. You know me. I do my homework, and I'm asking him, like, hey, can you learn anything from the last fight? And he was just kind of being a dick. And I was like, all right, if you bring up Kevin Holland to Zach ever, you go ahead, hit him up on social media. Our guy, Zach Blobner. Be like, Zach, I heard your favorite fighter is Kevin Holland. Oh, it's a beautiful thing. How's Zach doing these days? He's doing well, man. He's doing well. We miss him, and of course, I wish him all the best. Also, the main event. Well, he's fighting Randy Brown, too. So that's another big name in the welterweight division. And then Patricio Pitbull, former champion over there in Bellator. He takes on Aaron Pico, another guy coming from over there. Big names. Aaron Pico was one of the hottest young talents in mixed martial arts years ago. That should be a pretty damn good fight at the featherweight division. And then you look at the main card. 5 good fights there in Miami. And Cub Swanson, who has been a fan favorite since he's joined up in the UFC. remember Cub fighting in the WEC back in the day. Man, I missed the WEC on Versus. That was awesome with Jose Aldo and Anthony Pettis and Ben Henderson and Uriah Faber and Mike Brown. That was fun, man. Miguel Torres. That was good stuff. He's fighting Nate Landwehr. That's going to be a stand-up brawl. Light heavyweight division between a couple of big-ass athletic dudes and Dominic Reyes and Johnny Walker. I'm looking at, hold on. I was looking at them. Yeah, they're both over 6'4". Yeah, I was right. Dominic Reyes, 6'4". Johnny Walker, 6'6". Both guys in their mid-30s. That's going to be a stand-up and bang. Takedown average. They average less than half of a takedown per round, so they're going to stand up. Curtis Razor Blades. This is the one you got to keep an eye out for. There's a couple of fights on this card where you have name against undefeated fighter. And Josh Hockey against Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades has been a mainstay in the heavyweight division for a while now. He's a guy that when he gets you on the ground, he's a problem. But Josh, 8-0, an orthodox fighter. Can he kind of take his unconventional route, training with Jackson Wink out there in New Mexico? Listen, you're talking about a guy in his last 5 fights, all finishes, a KO in the first round and 3 of the last 4. Watch out for this guy. No joke. And Curtis Blades, if you're the real deal, you got to beat him. And then the final 2 fights. Paulo Costa, who looks like he was carved out of granite, former title challenger, he takes on the undefeated Russian Azamat Mirzakhanov. And Azamat, fighting in the southpaw stance, 5'10", 205. He's 36 years young. He's 16-0. This is a guy that can beat you wherever the fight goes. Be careful if you're Paulo Costa. You want to try to get your way back up to the middleweight title picture. You got to win this one right here. And then finally, the main event, the title fight for the light heavyweight championship of the world. Yuri Prochazka against Carlos Ulberg. Both of these guys, and Ulberg is one of those dudes where he's coming on 35 years of age, and when he hits you, it is just, he knocked out. Go look at the last knockout that he had against Dominic Reyes, right at the end of the first round. Kind of the opposite of what you saw early on, in his MMA career or his UFC career against Alonzo Menefield, where he knocked him out in 12 seconds. For him to win and beat Volkan Ozdemir and Jan Blachowicz, you earn the right to fight a guy like Yuri. And Yuri's a samurai. He's a different dude. I don't know if you've done your research on Yuri Prochazka, but you're talking about the guy that he beats Khalil Rountree, he beats Jamal Hill. He's lost to a guy like Alex Pereira a couple times. But Yuri Prochazka, to get ready for these fights, I saw that he lets himself get bitten by ants, by fire ants, and he pours hot sauce in his eyes. And then he takes a cold bath, like he swims in ice water. This dude's on another level, bro. Yuri Prochazka is one of one. There has never been an MMA fighter like him. He is just a distinct human being. There is nobody like him. Did you hear what I just said? He lets himself get bit by fire ants, and he pours hot sauce in his eyes before he goes to swim in ice water to get him ready as part of his training. This dude's, again, I'm not doing that stuff. I'm not doing that at all. Bart Hill, I remember that interview with Kevin Holland. He was a douchebag. Zach Maharan, Faber fights were great. He was one of those guys. There are certain fighters that really laid the groundwork when it comes to mixed martial arts, and Uriah Faber was one of them. And the California Kid, and I still remember Joe Martinez was the guy that was the ring announcer. The lightweight classes, what they did for MMA and the way that UFC, bought them and brought them into the fold. Because remember, lightweight division used to be the lowest weight class for many, many years. And then it was the featherweight at 145, the bantamweight at 135, and then eventually all the way down to flyweight at 125. And now we're seeing he's going to get inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame, and deservedly so. Demetrius Johnson, one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time. It's it's really cool to see the evolution of that sport. Remember years ago, Senator John McCain said that it was human cockfighting, and they had to do it in rural places like Dothan, Alabama. That's the only place because it wasn't legal. It's very interesting to see the evolution of sports. And I was very fortunate to be there at the first MMA fight at Madison Square Garden. I took the red eye home. I could not miss that. And to see Conor McGregor fight Eddie Alvarez in the main event there, and to see, and again, it's MSG. I've watched the Yankees. I mean, I've watched the Knicks there, the Rangers there. I've seen Barnum and Bailey's circus there, right? To be able to see the first ever MMA fight there at Madison Square Garden, it's something that I truly won't ever forget, and very grateful for that. I'm also grateful for my friendship and mentorship from this young man right here, the great Tom Jones, Pointer Institute. What's going on, buddy? How are you?
Can you hear me this time?
I can hear you. You got the voice of an angel, this guy. The dulcet tones of Tom Jones and the sports page.
It's so good to catch up with you. I texted you the other day. I thought you had a really smart and insightful take on the penalty box controversy the other night in Buffalo. And I was a little surprised that, I love John Cooper. We all love Coop. Mm-hmm. And I know he was frustrated, but I was a little surprised that some of his comments right after the game where he called for somebody's job. I think it was a post-game sort of just emotional thing. I'm not sure how serious, but I thought it was you made a really good point about just how, like, those off-ice officials, they're not paying attention. They're looking at the clock. They're looking at the watch. That's all they're concentrating on. Unfortunately, there was an injury there, but it's certainly not intentional and certainly not even negligent. Like, they're trying to do their best job to get those guys out of that box. So anyway, I thought you had a really strong.
Thank you, my friend.
Point
I appreciate that because I think so highly of you. And like I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. I like when people kind of check me, and I like when people say, like, "Are you sure about this?" And what's your thought process on this? And I always go back to the Deshaun Watson thing. Like, you literally changed my career.
You're being way too kind.
I'm not saying it because you're here. I say it to a lot of people. It's not hyperbole either. Because, and I'll peel back the curtain for our viewers now. I said on air when I was with Ian, well, the Buccaneers brought in Antonio Brown, even after they got this award from Billie Jean King for all the work that they've done with women. They should bring in Deshaun Watson. If they don't care, why should I care? And you rang me and you said, hey, man, you should care. You're one of the voices that matter in this city. And you were just so kind about it. You're like, I hope this doesn't come off the wrong way. And I'm like,
I don't want to be the old get off my lawn guy.
No, but I love stuff like that. Well, listen, I said this yesterday, and kind of going into this whole thing. When I was young, I used to hate constructive criticism. I would get offended. Smoke would come out of my ears. And I was coaching baseball when I first moved down here. I was 19, and a coach said something to me, and I was pissed. And I just sat there. And it was almost like I had an epiphany, and the temperature dropped. And I'm like, if somebody's giving you advice, you should probably open your ears and open your mind and at least listen to what they had to say. And it completely changed. So when you and I had that conversation, it did, because now I don't say anything flippant at all. I understand that everything I have to say, even on this platform now, after my DAE days, means something. So thank you for that.
All right, and that's why I reached out the other day, because I didn't want to make it seem like I'm only reaching out and
yeah.
I disagree with you on something. That's why the other day you made a really strong point. That's the thing. Like, it's easy. One of the things I learned when I was doing radio with Rick Stroud, our buddy over at WDAE, is like when I write something for the newspaper, for a website or whatever back in the day, like, you could like think about it and look at it and go, I'm not sure I like that. I'm going to rewind. I'm going to delete part of it. You say it on the air, man. It's too late. It's out there. I remember I've said a couple of things, like, as soon as it came out of my mouth, and I can remember Stroud looking at me like, what did you say? And it's like, oh no, what did I say? I hope nobody heard that, but anyway.
It's the way it goes, man. It's just, sometimes you can't put I always say we can't put the genie back in the box, and everybody goes, it's the bottle. And I go, I know, that's the joke inherently.
That's the point. I have to steal that. That's pretty good.
I want to ask you, and I love having this conversation with you, because I don't think we spoke about the Jacksonville Jaguars reporter and Liam Cohen, because I took a stance on, I got a lot of views from it, because I was taking perspective and the point of view of this is why people are so up in arms with it. Not whether it was the right place, not whether it was unprofessional, not whether we take ourselves too serious when it comes to those type of interactions. But I wanted to inform people. This is why it's unprofessional. This is why you're supposed to keep that kind of like that space between you and the athlete or the coach. This is why maybe we should look at it like maybe we're taking ourselves a little bit too serious, but I wanted to get, and also the time constraint, right? We got to get to them and get to the locker. So I kind of gave that whole perspective, and everybody and their mother had an opinion. Now we have the Diana Rossini situation with Mike Vrabel, which I think is so unique because there were these stories that were coming out and it was just like, why is she talking about AJ Brown to the Patriots? She's the only person talking about this. They're both married. And I don't want to get into a Christianity or biblical type of discussion. But as far as the professionalism goes, Tom, I think it's very important to understand why there is a lack of credibility now. This does hurt her professionalism. There are people that still to this day, and whether it's a misogynistic way or not, go, how does that woman get her job? I just think this is a bad look for the professionalism, for the journalistic side of what we do. What is your take on this whole thing?
Yeah, it's really one of those stories that you have to be really careful with.
Right.
Like, to be clear, I don't know Diana Rossini. I've never dealt with her. Everything I hear about her is nothing but how professional she is, she certainly earned the job that she has on her merits. There's never been anything about her or about her career that you can look and go, that's kind of shady, or that doesn't look good. Like I said, everything I know about her from afar is that she is a top-notch reporter. And if there was a man hanging out with Mike Vrabel at poolside, or out to dinner or in a bar, we woun't be thinking twice about this. Right. So I do feel bad for her that I think she's facing a scrutiny that's a double standard. I don't think, and they're just look, these are just photos. That's all we have are some photos. At the same time, like I have to say, like being in a hot tub or pool or whatever, like next to a coach doesn't look good. You just, I'm not sure you can put yourself in that position. Not because it would be, if a male reporter had done the same thing, it would, we'd get away with something like that. Unfortunately, she should probably know, like, it's just not going to look good, right. And so I don't know what their relationship is. I would like to think it's professional, but she certainly put herself into a bad spot. Look, I'll be the first to admit, and I don't know about you, Jay, like I've had beers with coaches I've covered, I've had dinner with coaches I cover. But I've never gone like swimming with coaches I cover. It's just a spot where she probably thought nothing of it, but it's unfortunately, it's like, it's probably,
and that's if it's on the up and up, right? Like that's on the up and up, right? And if it's not, then it's like, oh geez. The other
but
thing
it's going to stick. Unfortunately, it's going to stick, rightly or wrongly. It's going to stick with her a little bit, I think, from here on.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be everybody. It's tough because we think certain things, once it gets out of the cycle, it might not be top of mind, but people are going to look at you and wonder how you got these stories now, fairly or not, right? Because again, we don't know. What did you think about the Jacksonville thing with Liam Cohen and the reporter there?
So my initial reaction to it was, that can't happen. It's awkward. People are trying to do their job. It looks like you're a fan, which is the one thing that we in the media always try to prevent people from thinking that we're fans of the team or that we, I started learning more and more about that reporter after I wrote it and about the news organization that she worked for and how embedded in the community it is and how the reason that paper started. So it was a black news organization that started because the black community wasn't being represented and covered like it should be. And part of their job was to lift up the black community. And so I think that's the background that she was coming from in that particular exchange. So I'm willing to offer a little more grace in that situation than normal. We've seen situations like, look, we've been in locker rooms, we've been in press conferences where somebody asks an awkward question because it makes it seem like they're a fan of the team. And you make a good point. I was like, right after the game, we're trying to get our quotes. Let's go. We don't have time for this. But on this particular case, I gave her a little more grace just because I learned a little bit more about her background and the background of the news organization where she worked.
Yeah, I thought it was one of those things where, like, if you want to call it unprofessional, fine, right? But it's just like at the end of the day, like she was being a nice person, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like we should probably in this day and age find ways to like be accepting of positive and optimistic behavior, right? Like it's just like it gets us because people that don't know anything about it, they're like, why is it that big of a deal? And it's like, all right, well, I can see what you're saying, but like maybe we should be looking at the other side too of like, let's stop taking ourselves so serious.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk some sports here. What are we thinking about the Lightning now that they've lost 3 in a row? They're kind of killing my plans to go on these trips. I ain't going to Montreal, but I mean, it's just, I know. And our pal Eric Erlinson goes, Jay, there's no correlation between the two. And he's completely right. We get it. But it's just like, recency right now. This team doesn't look too good. What's your takeaway from just watching this team the last couple of weeks?
Well, I mean, like clearly the only thing that's been consistent about them since the Olympic break is their inconsistency. You know,
Right.
Times they look like, this team's going to win the cup, and other days like this team may not win a game again in the playoffs. They might get swept in the first round. I tend to agree with what Eric said. I caught a little bit of what Eric said on your show yesterday, and that is I'm completely like there is no correlation to me between the regular season and the playoffs. And the one thing that drives me crazy is, and I watch a ton of hockey like you do. I watch TNT, I watch ESPN. I get the hockey package, so I'm watching all the local broadcasters. This idea of like, hey, this game is like a playoff game. It's like it's got a playoff atmosphere. No, you know what has a playoff atmosphere? A playoff game. These aren't playoff games. I get it. They played Buffalo, they played Ottawa, they played Montreal. These are teams that you're likely to run into at the playoffs at some point. They played Boston on Saturday, another team. I get that we all want them to like at least look like you're having some success against these teams heading into the playoffs. But I just don't think – I think the postseason is a totally different animal than the regular season. I really do think there's this – once the playoffs start, every playoff series takes on its own personality.
Right.
And it has very little to do with what happened in the regular season. And this is going to sound totally arrogant, Jay, and I don't mean it to be – and this may all sound like I'm whistling past the graveyard, but – this is going to sound weird. Like I admit right from the start, like, oh, Tampa hockey guys sounded like so arrogant. I think these games were a bigger deal for Montreal and Buffalo and Ottawa than they were for the Lightning.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you.
I just think the Lightning are like, when do the playoffs start? And they don't care where they have to play.
And they'll never admit it. They'll never admit that either.
No, they can't. They won't.
No, they can't.
But would it be nice to have game 7s at home if you run into, for home ice advantage? Yeah, but I also don't think they're going to kill themselves to get that game 7 at home. Like, right. I think they're really looking at this like, when do the playoffs start? And let us know who we're playing, and we'll show up and we'll play them. Where I think these other teams, Montreal, Buffalo, particularly Buffalo, Montreal, like they're like, we want to show we can play with these guys. Like, right. I don't think the Lightning looks at it that way. I know last night's game got out of hand. We're not going to see a playoff series like that. I don't. I mean, it'll be physical. And I heard your comments earlier. It'll be physical. It'll be fast. There's some things about Montreal that would concern me. And I'm not saying Montreal can't take them out in the first round.
No, right.
They absolutely can. But at the same time, like, we're not going to see all kind of fisticuffs like we saw, unless we get to an end of a game and, scores out of hand, and then people try to send a message for the next game. But I just don't make that much of a correlation between the regular season and the playoffs. I'm not that concerned. Having said that, they could win the Cup, Jay, or they could get knocked out in the first round.
Yeah, the spectrum is very wide.
But that says more about the Eastern teams than it does about the Lightning.
Yeah, I think this is I was showing my girlfriend last night, is like 90 points in the Pacific is first place. They'd be 7th in the Atlantic. It's like
every time I turn on, I'm like I watched Boston play a couple weeks ago against somebody. I'm like, this Bruins team could go all the way. Yeah. And then I watch Carolina. Like, you forget about Carolina. Like, Carolina's really good. Yeah. And then you look up one night and Buffalo. I didn't expect Buffalo to be here. And then you look at Montreal. Like, all these teams, like, all of them are capable of winning. I think the best thing for the Lightning, Jay, and I don't know how you feel about it. You probably, I mean, you do. You watch them more than I do. Like, I think the best thing that could happen to Lightning, the best thing to happen to Lightning was if Florida missed the playoffs. Yeah. I just think that team had Tampa Bay's number. It was not a good matchup. It's never been a good matchup. But I think all these other teams, the Lightning, now look, to me, the key is going to be Hagel. Is Hagel going to be healthy
Right.
once the play? If he's healthy, then and everybody else stays healthy. And then I thought you had some great points earlier today about Nikita Kucherov. Like, look, ultimately we could sit there and you can point, you can say, oh, we need, this third liner to come through and this fourth liner and this third defensive pair has to do that. Look, it's all comes down to 86 and 21 and, and Hagel and
88
Cirelli
and Vasilevsky and that.
and Getzel. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right, man. And I'm excited. Like one of my favorite things about sports is like the narratives. Like there are narratives, but what people tend to forget is narratives change, right? He's not this, she's not that. All right. Well, the thing is that if they still have more of their career ahead of them, they have the ability to change it. I mean, Clayton Kershaw was another one guy, couldn't win the big one. People forget about Steve Yzerman not being able to win the big one for a long time. It was him before Alexander Ovechkin in hockey.
Exactly.
Couldn't win the big one, right? And I think we're on the precipice of another guy when you look at Aaron Judge of, all right, well, is he going to go down as the greatest Yankee to never win a World Series? Like right now, he's number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 in the clubhouse, right? I don't even know. I'm gonna have to call my dad and looking through some papers my grandfather sent me. I don't know if there is a great Yankee that hasn't won a.
They've been winning the World Series since 20. Yeah, Mattingly would probably be the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's it. I mean, those two guys, and that really is it. Speaking of baseball, all right. Good, because nobody else wants to have this conversation with me, and I know you will. I am of the belief that the Rays are just coasting on everything that they've done in the late 2010s and early 2000s, and I give them all the credit in the world for being able to do with what they have with the little resources, but the resources it's not bone dry. Everybody acts like they don't have anything, but they're making bad decisions, trading away Taj Bradley, who struck out 10 the other night. Shane Baz just got an extension from the Orioles. This, hey, we're the greatest wheelers and dealers, that is dissipated. You traded away 2 right-handed arms that are controllable in their mid-20s. You're supposed to be the team that figures guys out. You're not doing it. Your lineup construction, I don't understand why it's so hard to bat Jonathan Aranda behind Junior Caminero. He's their most important hitter. He needs protection more than anybody. You don't want him walking. I don't think Chandler Simpson's a leadoff hitter, but he should be batting 9th, not 5th. What's the sense of him getting on base if nobody's going to drive him in? And Aranda sits there up 7-0 or down 7-0, hits a ball off the wall. He's standing at home plate like Ronald Acuna Jr. And then Simpson gets thrown out at third the other night, down
third in a 7-2 game. Yeah, or 7-3.
So, like Jonesy, I feel like part of it is people are so enamored with what's going on with the stadium, and we'll talk about that in a second. But the other thing, I think, like we live to, like they're lucky they're not in another market because people would be crushing them. Because if you can't pay for the 30 home runs and RBIs and a guy that's going to win 20 games, you better have good fundamentals. And Tom, we haven't seen good fundamentals, great pitching, and great defense in this team for 3 years. So, like, what's going on with this Rays team?
I mean, you're spot on with everything you just said right there. And the thing that disappoints me, they've been so smart in everything they've done since really 2008. I mean, that's where it all really started. And you could look at the numbers, fifth most wins in baseball since then, or whatever it's been. But I do think there is a situation where they fall in love. Like, it'll work out. We'll figure it out. We'll trade Brandon Lau. We'll do this. Yeah, we have it. It's all settled. But the thing is, you can't then miss on anything. Like, that's the thing. That's the difference. That's we talk about teams that have a lot of money: Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs, whatever. Like, those teams can miss on some guys here and there because they have enough money to make up for their mistakes. This team, I get it. They don't have that kind of money. They can't make up for the mistakes, which means they have to be really careful in every decision they made. And they are a victim of their own success. I agree with you, Jay. Like, I look at this team and there's a part of me, this is just me being me. But, like, I went to games in Tampa. I live in St. Pete. I live 10 minutes from the Trop, and I'm like, are you telling me you're going to put this team in place for a couple of years just to plug along until you build your stadium in Hillsborough? Like, I get the sense, like, I don't know how hard they're trying to win right now. And that may be totally unfair.
No,
but
I don't think it is. I don't think it is because nobody's saying that. Like, I went online and, like, God bless him because he does everything else. But, like, I look Topkin, I look Neil, I look T. Kraz, I look at everybody. Like, I'm not calling those guys out, but nobody's talking about some of the fundamental issues that these guys are not doing because there's so many other news stories, and I get it. But like, even the people that are the most fervent supporters, or the people that are just kind of, I don't know, like I don't know if this team really gets held to task. Like, nobody takes this team to task right now because they're just like, all right, well, we're just so focused on the future. And to be fair, I don't know if the team's looking at it that way either. And I think that's scary because the worst thing you want is apathy. Yeah.
100%.
Right? And I tell you what, you better be ready. I've been saying, be ready for the invasion because the Yankees are coming to town and they're going to go inside and people are on vacation. Spring break is still going on up there. My nieces and nephews are all out of school. Don't tell me there's people not going to be at the Tropicana Field tonight. And there's big names. You want to see Judge. You want to see Stanton. You know,
well, the Cubs had a lot of fans there.
The Cubs had a lot of fans there. Well, let me ask you about that because I think it's the most useless argument and the most useless complaint. It's never going to go away, Tom.
No,
it's never going to go away. You're not from here. I'm not from here. The majority of the people that live here aren't from here. Like, to me, I'd embrace it. In soccer, they give away portions of the stadium for the away fans. I would do that if I was the Rays. Put 2,500 seats in one area and say, if you want to go to the game, go there and milk the hell out of it and make money. Like, right. I don't, it doesn't bother me that these opposing fans come here because it's like, hey, as long as you're spending money here and you're keeping our economy okay, and like you're buying food from like my buddy's shop, like at the end of the day, like if you're loud, it's because your team's winning. Like, let's shut you up, have our home team win.
Right.
I just think it's like shouting into the cloud type of thing.
No, you're 100% right. And our old buddy Steve Dumig, God rest his soul, like he used to get mad at people who like it. You should be a Lightning fan if you live in Tampa. You should go to Lightning. Look, I look at it the other way. My son grew up here. Mm-hmm. My oldest son grew up here, was a Rays fan, and he moved to New York City. He moved to New York City in 2011, and he's been living in New York since 2011. He still goes to Yankee games wearing his Rays gear. Like he's a Rays kid, you know. Yeah. That's what he grew up in. So I wouldn't. I hate. You'll love this. Like he's actually become a Rangers fan. Like he's a huge Rangers fan because he listens to. Although it was funny a few years ago when they played in the playoffs, the year that the Lightning lost to the Avalanche. I called him. I was like, "Well, who are you rooting for?" He's like, he has like 20 Ranger hats and everything, and he's like, "Yeah, I think I'm rooting for the Rangers." And I'm like, really? Wow, that's a big. And then like 30 seconds into game one, he's like, no, I can't do it. I'm going for the Lightning. But that's where he's from. He's from here. So he's a fan of the place where he grew up. Like you're from New York. I'm from Pittsburgh. I know a lot. My boss is from Chicago. He went to all 3 Cubs games wearing his Cubs gear. Like you're right. It's like shouting into the wind, but it's always going to be that way. And I agree with you. Like, would you rather people not go, like stay home, and then you have 6,000 people at the game? Or do you want them to at least they're giving money to the Rays at the end of the day? So that's a good thing.
And I think that's something that I had to learn my voice and learn how to address that because you know me, man, I wasn't a casual New York fan. Like my grandma had a shrine to Thurman Munson. My great grandparents watched Babe Ruth at the original Yankee Stadium, right? Like my uncle Kenny was the rink manager at Rye Playland for the Rangers, right? I didn't have a choice in the matter of who I rooted for. But when I came down here, it was like I remember that 2015 year when the Lightning beat the Rangers in the Eastern Conference Final, and I was sitting there and I was like, I don't know what is going on now. What the hell am I doing? But you become a little jaded, and now like I look at it and I've staunchly said it, like, remember where you're from, but don't disrespect where you're at.
100%.
I think I've lost my fandom. I think, and that's why I love like soccer now. I love Manchester United because I'm a fan, but I don't look out of the 4 major sports. Like, I don't know if I'm a fan anymore. I'm a supporter. I support the teams, but I don't know if I'm necessarily a fan anymore because I love the Rangers. Mark Messier changed my life winning that thing, running down the street in my underwear. I loved hockey, right? But like Steven Stamkos and Victor Hedman know my name. Like Mika Zibanejad doesn't know who the hell I am. So it's, you know what I mean? It's like what's really important.
And right? Like if you do, like you've done this job a long time. I was a sports writer for a long time. One of the things I was looking forward to when I left sports and I went to the Pointer Institute was like, well, can I be a fan? Because I had totally lost all my fandom. Right. And I still don't have it all the way back. Like I still I get into what my kids get into. My youngest son is a huge Rays fan, huge Lightning fan, likes the Bucks. So I'll get into it with him. But it's weird. Like once you like not only do you talk about like guys knowing your names and see what good guys they are.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes you have like you butt heads with these guys.
Yeah.
Like, okay, they're kind of jerks sometimes too. Like so, you know, in our line of work, we sort of lose some of that fandom. But I think you hit on something just a minute ago. I've never had a problem with people being fans of the like if you're a Maple Leafs fan and you go to Toronto to see Toronto here against the Lightning, you can wear your Rays Leafs gear, root for the Leafs. But the thing that always bothered me is like if the Leafs were to score a goal late in the game to sort of cap it off, empty net or something, and as Lightning fans are leaving, the people like, see ya, bye. Yeah. Like, okay, don't be a jerk about it. You know,
that's sports, man. You know what I mean? You want to see I always say, you want to see the worst of Tampa Bay sports fans? Go to Tropicana Field when the Yankees are in town.
Oh,
all right, last thing I want to ask you about the stadium. People have been asking me about this on baseball fields the last 10 years. And my initial reaction is, and I'm probably one of the few people to say it, but like, I think they're gone. Like, and I think that they're gone. I've known Ken Hagen before I ever got into radio because I knew him through the baseball world, and I know how much of a baseball fan he is. I know that he's going to do whatever it takes, whether people like him or don't like him, whatever. He is going to do whatever it takes to make this happen. Will it be enough? I don't know. But Jonesy, I find it hard to believe that with all this information that's coming out about the payment, because it always comes down to that stuff right there, the cash. I just don't know how this is going to happen. There's so many things, and we could be optimistic and hope, but put hope in a bucket, see how much you get at the bank for that. Like, I just don't know how this whole thing is going to go. What does your gut tell you about the Rays and how this stadium saga is going to unfold?
I was a little bit optimistic until I saw the stories yesterday that came out. Tampa Bay Times had a big story. Axios Tampa Bay had. When I saw the price tag of what might be you're talking about now we're $1 billion. The public's going to have to put up $1 billion. Like all of a sudden, I could just hear people choking all over town, like spitting up their Diet Dr. Peppers or whatever. Like that number is a scary number. And then all of a sudden, you start saying, "Wait a minute, this is money. Some of this money that was supposed to go to Benchmark International Arena, we're going to think some of the money is supposed to go to Steinbrenner. Like, how are those teams going to react to that? Like,
what about the Bucks?
What about the Bucks? Yeah, look, and
the Bucks won $100 million.
And here's the thing: like that stadium, like we got Super Bowls coming there. We got college football national championships coming there, and the biggest sport there is, the National Football League. Like that, they need to be taken care of as much as anybody before anybody. That stadium's old compared to like
it is.
A lot of stuff. Like
don't forget soccer. Don't forget about outdoor hockey. Don't forget about WrestleMania. Like things like that are huge.
That's right. They don't just have the Bucks 8 Sundays a year or whatever.
Concerts too. Jeez.
Oh yeah. So and then you look around like at stadiums like that are in Dallas and SoFi and the new stadium. Everybody's building new stadiums. So we're lucky that the Bucks haven't really like, hey, it's time for a completely new one. For $2 billion or whatever it is. Right. I tend to agree with you, Jay. Look, I need two things. I need to see a check and I need to see a shovel. And I said that for the last 10 years. Because I went to a press conference and I think you were there and I got a baseball at my desk at the Poynter Institute that says "We Are St. Pete." And I went there. There was 400 people sitting in the stands or 600,000 people, whatever it was. There was a big spread. It was great. And the mayor was up there and Stu was up there and all these people were up there and like, they're staying. We got a deal. We got a deal in place. And nobody saw what happened next. All of a sudden, 2 hurricanes hit the Trop and knock it down. And all of a sudden that thing went kaput. I'm telling you, I had a baseball, Jay. It says "We Are St. Pete." And that was the day. That was finally, after all these years, we got a stadium. And it's still not a stadium. We still have a deal. I'm with you until I see that check, until I see that shovel. I'm not convinced that they're staying. And it's as much as we would like, people like Ken Hagen or whatever I just don't like it. The bottom line is who's writing the check. That's what I want to know.
We need to see a check and we need to see a shovel. If
That's
you want to see,
I want to see
Poynter Institute.
You have like the 4 guys like sitting there with the gold shovels. I haven't seen that.
Do you want a small check or do you want one of those big checks that they
give
out?
Big like publisher clearinghouse checks? Yeah, that's what I want to see.
I love that big old check. You get it handwritten on there. I love that. Tom, I always appreciate your mentorship, your friendship, and just joining me on the show. Tom Jones, Pointer Institute. We love you, man. Have a great weekend. We'll talk soon.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, buddy. The great Tom Jones, man. Again, there's so many people that like influence you in your life and in your career, and Tom Jones is certainly one of those people. And again, my favorite show. People ask me my favorite show of all time on WDAE. It's not the Big Dog. It was not Ron and Ian. It wasn't even one of the shows that I was on. It was the Sports Page, because I learned something every freaking day. We had such a good time. And when those guys said I did a good job, I felt like I did a good job. All right, guys, this is going to wrap it up for me. A big thank you to Tom Jones for joining us on the program, as well as Michael Senay, as well as Coach Dominic Casciato. What a day. And how about the Super Chats? My goodness, you guys are the best. Will I be going live on social media? Yes, I will be going live on social media. What's up to Sergio? Hold on, buddy. Let me flip this over. Camera flip. The post-game show. The post show. Come over to the post-game show. Hope, Tampa Bay Lightning, come on over to the post-game show. We're going to be live on here. If you guys want to chat, you can ask me anything over on the post-game show on my TikTok at Recher. Go check me out. A big thank you for the Super Chats. Victor Boucher, David Terry, and Miguelo Especial. I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Remember, the store opens on Monday. Get your Recher podcast swag, shirts, hats. We got them all for you. I'm going to watch USF softball tonight, Rowdies on Saturday, Rowdies tomorrow, and of course, watching UFC as well. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram. Like and subscribe on YouTube as well. Head on over to my TikTok right now, Recher, and let's go chat for the post-game show. Everybody have a